Hey guys, it's Alyssa Marie, your intuitive reader. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the suggestions. I definitely looked through them and I went ahead and chose Robin's suggestion. So thank you so much, Robin, for giving me that suggestion about my thoughts on the next months/years coming up. So this is not going to be a very long video. It's just going to be a very general overlook on what I kind of see coming. And also, though, before we get into it, of course, it would help me out so much if you guys hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell, as well as if checking out my Etsy. I actually have a 10% off sale right now on everything in store: crystals, readings, candles, etc. So let's go ahead and get started into today's discussion. So I have some notes here, that's why I'm looking down. The first thing I want to talk about is the shift, in my opinion. Everything here is going to be my opinion. The shift from the masculine society to a feminine society. Originally, as you guys probably know, the Lemurians were more of a feminine society. Again, this has nothing to do with gender. Nothing. It is about being more intuitive, creative, empathic, sensitive, right? And the Lemurian society did fall. And then we had the Atlantean society, which was masculine. A masculine society happens to be more scientific, direct, methodical, like that. Both are good. Both we want in a society. We really don't want one more than the other, except it always happens, it seems, that there is one more than the other. Now, in my perspective right now, we are definitely in a very masculine society. Okay, so originally we were in a more feminine society way back. We're now into a more masculine society. But since the dawn of the age of Aquarius, which I believe to be, that would have been last December, okay, during the winter solstice. That's where I think we shifted into the age of Aquarius, into kind of what is known as kind of like the golden age. And what this means to me is that there are going to be more and more people waking up. And what I mean by waking up is more and more people are going to be waking up to their true purpose, who they really are. They're going to start questioning things a little bit more. They're going to start to think, okay, well, is there more to life than just this physical aspect of it? There's going to be more of that. And there's going to be a lot more people awakening to their starseed self. And we've already started to see that, Just within the last year, there's been way more searches on starseeds. There's been way more, books coming out, videos coming out, programs coming out in general. And so there is going to be this, at least in my opinion, there's going to be so many people kind of shifting into that headspace, and maybe not necessarily identifying as a starseed, okay, but instead becoming more in tune to it, if that makes any sense, okay? Of course, there will be more people identifying as well. Now, yes, this is an important note I made. The important thing to remember, though, is, to me, ever since that dawn of the age of Aquarius, okay, there has been a lot of purging. And I have talked about that in my previous videos. You can check that out. But purging, again, is when we have lesser vibrational energies that are coming up and then being alchemized and kind of transferred into higher ones. This happens on an individual level, and this also happens on a collective level. And it does happen more for particular individuals than others, but as a collective, it's a domino effect. So what I mean by that is, when I am purging things out, the next person's purging things out, and it makes the collective purge. Now, purging, again, this is when lower vibrational energy, so traumas from our past. Wow, there's so repressed emotions, repressed memories, things like this that we are still holding on to are going to come up. When they come up, it's intense. And that's why, recently people have been like, oh my God, I've been feeling so maybe depressed. I've been feeling so anxious. I keep thinking about this person from the past. I keep thinking about this thing from the past, blah, 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 right? All of that has to do with the purging. But the purging is necessary in order for higher vibrational emotions, feelings, energies, in order for those to be in our auras. And so whenever you're going through something, whether it be, something with another person, your personal journey, it can be anything. Whenever you're going with something that feels a little bit like, you just want to give up, you're hopeless, whatever, please remember that this is happening for a reason. A lot of times you're doing this, you're kind of being forced to look at these things, and that can scare people. But remember, you're not being forced. Again, nothing's by force. I shouldn't have used that word, because nothing's by force. Everything is, you chose this life. Almost every single thing that happens to you actually has been chosen by you. Okay? That's so important to remember. Now, yes. And so, okay, sorry, I'm like going through my notes and forgetting. Now, what's going to happen too, in my perspective, is we're very scientific at this point, which is fine, which is good. Science is good. But science is going to start to meet spirituality. There's going to be more instances where we see, I think, scientific studies on things that we did not see before, such as time travel, or maybe, like I just recently read about some study about dimensions, and we could exist in a higher dimension. Like, we already knew that, but like in the scientific community, they're starting to be like, okay, let's look at this, let's look at that. Possibly I see maybe looking into the scientific studies of crystals and their energies and how vibrations affect people. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that in the coming years. Now, also, there's going to be more darkness. There's going to be more purging. This is important. And I don't want to scare you, but there's going to be more darkness. There's going to be more purging. And that's because we are making room for these higher fifth dimensional, more full of light energies. And so what do I mean by darkness? Well, we could say, for instance, the whole pandemic, that was a form of darkness, right? But also, it's hard to say what exactly could be the case. But I do watch other people's channels, of course. And one thing a lot of people keep talking about is what is known as the event. The event. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. I have no idea exactly what this event is. I don't know when it's going to happen or anything like that. However, I keep getting messages about solar flares, okay? And we know that on a scientific level, we know solar flares happen, they're normal. But I keep getting like these visions and just light codes being like telepathic communication from my guides, like the Arcturians. Solar flare. And I'm like, okay, but then when I looked up about the events and stuff, some people also believe something about a solar flare. Well, right before I made this video, just the local weatherman on my Facebook, he was talking about this big solar flare that's going to happen. And I'm like, so that could have to do with some sort of event, some sort of solar flare or multiple solar flares. Of course, this is all hypothetical, but that's something that's coming up for me as well. But nonetheless, as we move to a more feminine society, again, the Lemurians fell because they were too feminine. I mean, the Atlanteans fell because they were too masculine. We don't want one more than the other, but we are shifting into a more feminine society. And there's going to be a lot more people in tune with their divine feminine. And again, remember, nothing to do with gender. And I think we're going to see a lot more artistic movements too, a lot more art, a lot more maybe people turning to, starting their career path, doing things like I do, like spiritual work, psychic work, people choosing a path of art. I noticed too a lot of people being more like self-sufficient. And not to say if you work for some, that's not what I mean by all. Like if you're not self-employed, that doesn't mean you're not self-sufficient. But what I'm trying to say with that is that I see more and more people starting their own business, working for themselves. And I think that also has to do with that shift to the feminine. It's less of a structure, less of, deadlines and stuff. The deadlines are set by self instead of others. That's another thing I see happening. A lot more people owning their own business, going into their own thing. And just being a little less traditional than what we've seen. I kind of see, honestly, less people going to college as well. I'm not anti-college by any means. I went to college. I have a bachelor's degree, right, in biology. I went to college. College is awesome. But I also feel, of course, you don't have to go to college to be successful. I don't use my college degree at all, which, the thing is, I wouldn't redo it though. I wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to go back and not do it, because it still taught me things. And I feel like if I didn't go to college for what I went to college for, if I didn't study biology, if I didn't do this stuff, I would have never been here, And so, but I think a lot less people are going kind of the traditional route of things. A lot less people are going to be, graduate high school, go to college, get married, have kids, retire, die. I think it's going to be a lot less. I think people might be having less kids. People might not be doing it exactly in the traditional way. There might be switched. And I think, again, that has to do with changing our outlook on the more feminine society, less of a masculine, less of a traditional methodical society. Okay? So that is what I have. Let me check my notes. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. Oh yeah, one thing I did miss. When we talk about going into this new earth, this fifth dimensional earth, and I can talk more in detail about that if you guys are interested, but I don't think we're going to be I don't think the human collective is going to be entering the fifth dimension. I should say, I don't think Earth will be entering the fifth dimension in the next few years. There are some people that do. I don't think it's going to be in the next few years. I think it's going to be longer than that. But there's definite changes and definite becoming closer. But remember, again, when we're doing all this purging in darkness, there is never, ever, 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 at least here, at least in the third dimension, there is never light without darkness. And so if things are becoming more light, there will still be darkness. There will still be dark things happening, So we could talk all day about that. But I don't think we're going to be necessarily completely into the fifth dimensional, which, remember, the fifth dimension and the actual fifth dimension is a different dimension. But the fifth dimensional way of life, you can do right now. The fifth dimensional way of life, you can do, I can do, they can do, right? That's different. That's a mindset, and we should all be striving for that. And I can talk a little bit more about that too in a different video if you guys are interested. What is the fifth dimensional mindset? What is that? And then if we all start to do that, we're going to shift humanity faster as a collective and as a planet into the fifth dimension. But the thing is good things take time. I don't think we need to rush. I think we need to do things on a chill, relaxed schedule, and we're getting there. And I think the next few years, they're going to be intense, but they're going to be beautiful. And I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. And of course, feel free to put what you think, down in the description, the comments, because we all have our own perspective. But I am curious if anybody else have been seeing things or thinking things about solar flares. Okay, so please talk about that down there if you have. But anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, I do have videos now every Tuesday and Thursdays. And I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye-bye.